When I was about 12 years old, I was playing, I guess, Little League at the time. It was the final at bat of the championship game at the end of the season. I had a full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. The coach took me out, put in his son, and his son struck out. I don't understand the rationale behind him putting his son in. I don't know what evidence there was that his son would do a better job. I just remember that it was high and away, and he swung at it anyway, and all of a sudden the game was over. I'm not saying that I'm a great baseball player. I might have struck out too. I probably would have walked, and it's not to say that we wouldn't have lost the game anyway on the next at bat, but I didn't get a chance to find out what I would do because the coach took me out and put his son in. I use this story to talk about as a segue to our illustrious soccer disaster, Rapinoe, who, in their loss against Sweden this past week, kicked a penalty kick that went wide of the goal by a country mile and then walked away smiling about something. When I watched the kick, I thought, if I had that amount of skill, that number of years in a professional setting, that amount of physical conditioning, and that amount of experience, the odds of my botching the kick so badly would have been marginally small. Thinking back on this kid who replaced me, we were both probably 12. Our skill set was low. To understand him doing something foolish makes sense. How long has Rapinoe been playing soccer professionally? And then to kick it over the goal where the goalie really could have stood there, twiddling his thumbs, and it would have posed no threat. It was their game to lose. And I just look at the kind of decisions that are made about who gets put in positions around the world for all sorts of things and think why. Yes, there's a little bit of a personal grouse in this. I was taken out of the game. I've been passed over for lots of promotions and interviews for jobs. And Lord only knows how many women have told me you're a great guy, but, and then given some asinine reason to reject me. But it just makes me look at the people who do get chosen for marriage, chosen for promotions, chosen for jobs, chosen to be given the opportunities to shine in sports, who then totally botch it and think, how did this person get chosen? I can't tell you how many times I've looked at a couple and looked at a guy in a relationship. Just this morning, in fact, on campus, there was one. I looked at this dude and thought, what does she see in him? Because all I can figure is because he's younger than I am, he's skinnier. But I don't think he was more attractive than I am, other than that. The same thing can apply to sports um, franchises, to politics, to job applications, where you have to look at it and go, what are they looking for that is not obvious? How did Rapinoe get to this illustrious place if this is what she does in a key moment in a game that decides her career? Because I think, if I've understood it correctly, she's done. This is what people will remember her for. Not just that she botched a kick, but that she botched a kick and America cheered her demise. Na 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 na, hey, 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 goodbye. Because she's out, and Americans cheered it all over the world. The media, and we know that because the media is criticizing them for, is attacking them because they think she's a bad person. Well, it's funny how nobody attacks anyone who thinks Hitler's a bad person, or Pol Pot, or Mao Zedong. If you say Che Guevara is, then they'll attack you for some reason, or Cesar Chavez. There are lots of bad people out there. And when bad people fail, it means that good people have a chance to succeed. I have no idea who will win, and I really don't care. I haven't been watching it. I only found out about this after the fact this morning because I don't really care. The question really just is how did she get there? And what do we do about it now? Because instead of celebrating a win, celebrating America, celebrating a key American famous performance athlete, we're going to watch people celebrate the demise of a woke disaster who botched a penalty kick and cost America its place in the tournament. No, we weren't playing very well anyway. Professional sports. I wonder if she was put on a team by her dad because her dad pulled somebody else out and put her in instead. Because that's what it felt like to watch it. I had a flashback of being pulled out in the final inning, the final at bat, and then watching the coach, and I still remember their names. I'm just not saying them because this is not to slander anyone in particular. And watching him botch it and thinking, wow, I don't think I would have botched it that badly. But now we'll never know. That was the end of my baseball career. This is just like this will be the end of Rapinoe's soccer career, I hope, because all too often we see the same phenomenon happen everywhere in the world. I've said this elsewhere. I guess it's time to make it public on the internet if I haven't already. Two things rise to the top, the scum and the cream, and the scum always thinks that it's the cream. The longer the scum stays at the top, the more likely it is to corrupt it, until everything at the top is scum, and the cream has become bad as well. That is the nature of things, that any time you move something to the top that does not belong there, it tends to corrupt the things that are there that do, because other people see this person rise in might, and they decide to leave, or they decide, well, there's no point in my making an effort because other people are rewarded who don't deserve it and who didn't earn it. This is why, as a culture, we resist nepotism. It's why, as a culture, we resist collusion, connections, and manipulation of the system, because anytime somebody gets there who shouldn't be, we've at least robbed one person of the chance to be there who should, and all the people who would have benefited from their success. I have no idea how we would have done if Rapinoe wasn't on the team. I just know that the other night, Rapinoe totally botched it. This is a person who was given opportunities other people were not given, who in the end will not be remembered for her good intentions, but for her last bad penalty kick, and how, because she missed it by a country mile, her team didn't get to win. Our team didn't get to win. They will talk about working together and teamwork and cooperation, but they don't actually want to work with us. They want us to work with them. They don't have any desire to compromise and come to our side of the table. They demand our capitulation and then call that compromise. We just see that in relationships, work, sports, in politics, in religion, where people will rise not because they're the most qualified, but because they're the most connected. And then they will botch things, and everyone suffers. But sometimes there aren't a lot of options. I know I've been told by the dean in previous attempts to get my career jump started that there were lots of qualified applicants. But I'll just throw this out there because it does kind of bother me a little bit. Of the 4 administrative jobs I've applied for in academia in the last 16 years, now 5, 3 of the candidates that were hired in my place were fired or self-terminated because they were under investigation for crimes against the state. So qualified or not, they definitely didn't make a good choice. And so here we are again, hiring again, trying to do the same thing in a way that is proven not to work and expecting different results. Sounds pretty insane to me. I don't know how Rapinoe got to the top. All I know is that it's hard to go up snakes and ladders because it's much more likely to get on the big snake and go all the way back to the bottom than to catch that big ladder and ascend to the top at the beginning. And all too often, those who catch that big ladder are those who are the least deserving of it. Not to say that everyone at the top doesn't belong there, but more often than not, you'll have to look at them and go, what did someone see in them that I can't see? And that's probably the most charitable response I can come up with. Anyway, just remember that just because people are above you does not mean that they belong there. Sometimes they're there because of luck, and sometimes they're there because someone has greased the skids of their career and allowed them to overtake other people who are more qualified and more capable for whatever reason. So good luck with whatever you do. Godspeed, and may things will all work out for your best.